We're going to look at the real life examples. We're going to get Jerry Ponder from Genesis. So he is one of these mystical people that actually provides aged care advice. I've been working with Jerry now for about 18 months, and he's got a wealth of experience in this area. And what he's going to share with you quite briefly is some real life examples and exactly the difference that can be made in people's lives with this work. Thanks very much, Gary.
Hi there. I am one of those specialist aged care advisors. I'll talk to you later. I've been a financial advisor now for about 20 years, and as Darren pointed out, I've been giving aged care advice for about 18 months. And before I started giving advice, I really had to do a bit of research to find out what it was all about, and it's a legislative nightmare, as Louise pointed out. There's a lot of pitfalls there for the people who, for the families of people who are moving into care. One of the great things that we get to do as financial advisors, and one of the things that's kept me in the business this long, is that we develop a pretty strong relationship with our clients. And in the aged care sphere, I find it even more so because it's an incredibly emotive experience. You guys will know that, the emotions that people don't want to put mum or dad into care, and they know they need to, and sometimes, you know, even the mum or dad might be almost dragging and screaming from the house to go into care. And it's very, very emotive. And one of the things that I as an advisor can do is take some of that emotion away by providing the options, or the solution options that Louise mentioned. Louise went through a whole bunch of examples in detail there. So what I was going to do was just give you a couple of real life examples of situations where the families have been incredibly grateful and they've had a terrific result financially as well as emotionally. This is a real life case where the lady lived in a $1.7 million home in the eastern suburbs. They are actual statistics for her, and they had to come up with a $400,000 bond. She's got two sons, one in his late 50s and one in his early 60s, so just beside themselves. And fortunately, they contacted Darren, he contacted me, and I met with these guys, and they their first solution was, well, we have to sell the house. And I said, well, maybe not. And the lady's current position is this. She's on a full pension, so total income is that. I'm going to skip through these details a little bit because they're not hugely relevant, but if she sold the home, as you can see, and as Louise pointed out, she totally loses the age pension because it's way outside the assets. Her actual income is great. It goes up incredibly, but she lost the house and lost the pension. I'll come to an example where the pension was just absolutely vital for one old lady. So the basic value fees were that. I'll skip over them a little bit. Once again, the cash flow position by keeping the home and renting it and paying the bond in full, the cash flow position was still pretty good, but a portion of the income is assessed. I've used an assessment there of 70% of the income being assessed because that's generally what the Central Income and Taxation would accept. It has to be done on an individual basis, but as a general rule they'll accept that because they understand there's certain costs in renting a home. But if we just go on to the important one here is the example that Louise pointed out as well. By keeping the house and renting it and paying a small portion by periodic payment, then I was able to show the sons that the income was quite incredible, and the actual outgo, so this cash flow in was about $58,000 and cash flow out's about $14,000 a bit. An incredibly good result for them. And once again, you have to go into the individual details, and yes, the income is of itself taxable and all those kinds of things, but there are issues that we talk about outside of this example. But I know we're quite aware of that, and as Louise pointed out, there's certain tax offsets through the medical costs, and even some of the aged care fees can be tax deductible as well. But yeah, so that's a great opportunity. Now, what these guys just over the moon, and they were both intelligent men, but this is a nightmare. Getting this set up right. And the thing is, as Louise pointed out, if they decided to sell the house before they spoke to me, then mum's in a pretty bad spot. It's not a great time to try and sell a property in the eastern suburbs at that price because the market's not fantastic. It'll get better. We can factor in a pretty sure bet that it'll increase in value over the next few years. Mum's fairly old, and it just put their mind at ease so incredibly. it was just the relief that they showed when I said, well, these are the options. My process is to interview them and then go away and then put all this research through and then come back to them, as Louise pointed out, with at least 5 options. These are your options. I do make a recommendation that this one looks the best for you, that it's up to you. And if they go away and decide that they're going to do something different and ultimately sell the house, so be it. I've just provided them with the options. So that's one example of where these guys were just, as I said, they were just, one particular son, the oldest son, was obviously very, very close to his mum. Mum, under any circumstances, did not want to sell the house, but they thought that was their only option initially. Once again, a real live example. This is one where the, rightly or wrongly, mum just wanted to keep, rightly or wrongly, a home. Once again, she's on a full pension. Her income position is that. She sells the home. Basic daily fees, once again, that's just a bit of detail. She kept the home and didn't rent it. Once again, why would you do that? Because it's only insured in 2 years accounts. Daily fees, and it's a situation where she was going into high care and kept the house and rented it. We assumed the $450 rent because that's what they actually got, and that's the current asset position or income position with the money coming in. And once again, the daily fees is $22,600, and she's only got to pay the basic fee plus the accommodation charge and no income assessment fee because the rent's exempt. Real good example. And this is not uncommon. This is, they're 2 very, very consistent examples. The only thing that changes is really the value of the home. Otherwise, everything's pretty much the same. And also the assets, the accessible assets that they might have in cash in the bank. And the last example is, I didn't actually see this guy myself, but I was told about it by another advisor, where this guy was just so emphatic that he was not to lose his age pension. And the situation was that they needed to sell the home because in order to rent it, they would have had to spend a lot of money in renovating it. It was on the northern beaches. They bought the house like 50 years ago, and it's a great block of land, with a nice view, and pretty much a ramshackle fibre house. And people have been trying to buy it for years and years and years. Of course, that wouldn't budge. And now he's got to go into care. So the decision is to sell the house. Okay? So what they were left with then was a level of income of that. You can see his pension's dropped, and that was a real problem. I mean, he still got a pension, he still got the benefits, but it was a real problem for him because it was reduced by $4,000 a year. What we looked at was paying daily fees. What we looked at was actually paying a higher bond. Instead of $400, we paid $650, or they paid $650. What it did, it got him back nearly to the full age pension. He was happy with that. It's only a few dollars difference. And it wasn't financially probably the best decision. In fact, it definitely wasn't from a financial planner's point of view. But from the family's point of view, there was 2 sons and a daughter, and they were just so worried, and Dad was almost suicidal that he was going to lose his pension. And to go back to him and say, listen, Dad, we've got nearly a whole pension left, and he just bright as a button, good as gold. He was happy as could be. All they cared about was Dad being happy. Now that's what you guys will see all the time. Just as long as Mum and Dad's happy, it doesn't matter the financials. They weren't concerned about it, but as long as Dad was happy. So in that situation, there was a genuine reason to recommend paying a higher bond.
Did you just say that if they choose not to rent the house after 2 years, it's deemed as rented?
Yeah, because the exemption only applies for 2 years.
On high care.
Yeah.
On low care if you don't pay periodic.
Yeah, if you don't pay periodic. So that was the example that Louise was saying before, that the house is exempt for 2 years. And that once again, it's a situation why would you leave the house vacant for 2 years? Not do something with it, even if the option was to sell. So, as I said, in this situation here, there was a real genuine reason to suggest a higher bond would make Dad feel happy. That's all I cared about. And that was fine. So there was just 3 very quick examples. There were stacks and stacks and stacks of them. I was saying to Louise earlier, I spoke to some people yesterday, so there's no slide for it, but the wife is 51 years of age and the husband is 57, he's got full-time dementia. She's working full-time, they're going to separate because she's going to go to care, she's going straight to high care. There's a whole bunch of issues around that we're going to look at. But the great thing is that she was just worried that she was not going to be able to afford care for her husband because they don't have a lot of cash. He's got super, she's got super. She didn't want to use that, her super. She can't actually. But there's a situation there that if we do this right, and if Centrelink are nice about it, we'll be able to provide him with a full disability support pension, and she'll be able to fund balance of his care basically over wages. So, you know, and we can park his super and where it is and live where it is because it's not an accessible asset. So there's some great strategies around it. I left there last night with her feeling a whole lot better because even in a worst case scenario, she could still fund his care through a strategy. But the best case scenario is she'll fund out of her own wages. So, you know, there's those kinds of examples, and she was just absolutely over the moon, and she was absolutely desperate for adopting. Not that I'm a genius, it's just that we use the tools that are available. So yeah, so we can provide a good service and we get some good relationships out of it. So I hope that's just been helpful to show a couple of real life examples of how this works. And I've been doing this for about 18 months now, and it's a very rewarding part of the job. Thanks.